Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. In completion of a path, it's the accomplishment that we make. So that when we reflect on that pathway, it takes us through the journey of what we have accomplished. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, I completed innovative planning. I need to start from the beginning. Now, my very first thought when I opened the pathway and I looked through all the curriculum that I had to approach in innovative planning, a theme came to my mind. And it was like I'm going on a trip in a journey in my life. So my icebreaker talked about my very first trip. A trip that I took as a very young child, traveling back to a family reunion, and how we drove through the dead of night. But how it then, in the light of day, it connected me with such a large family that I was connected to. And it was in thinking about that that took me through the rest of my journey with innovative planning. I looked at a speech about a dream that I wanted to have. And then I reflected on that through a wonderful evaluation and come back and presented my speech, The Dream. I wanted to highlight with research and presenting by doing a bucket list. And the bucket list happened to be a speech that I delivered in a humorous competition. In other speeches that I'd done through my first level, every one was a part of my journey in life. In level 2, I looked about how I could use communication to educate others in the art of evaluation. And then I looked at, through my leadership, through my own cultural values. And then when I was thinking about mentoring, how could I mentor if I didn't mentor from being one of the greatest roles in my life that I adore is being a mother. And so I was done my speech of mentoring the next generation and how we need to make sure that when we are raising our next generation, that we're doing that in a positive way. In level 2, I thought about presenting a proposal on how we can make sure that a trophy that was donated to Mount Druitt Koori that represented Uncle John Kinsella's themes and thoughts and approach. And so my proposal was, how do we do that? How do we make sure that that trophy was going to go to an active member who was being part of our club? And from then, I know that we've got members at the club that have driven that first proposal to a new hindsight. In the active listening, I talked about Pompeii. Oh my gosh, I visited Pompeii and I wanted to make sure that I could share that with other members. And then another elective was storytelling. And I told stories about my travels in life, going back to that very first theme of my first trip. My level 4 planning reflected on a project that I was part of that I still to this day remember wisely. And it was about the message stick and the journey that I went on to Uluru, supporting the local Mudurjula people to get their school reopened. I shared and reflected the thoughts and the ideas and the concepts and the people that I met on my travels. And how did I manage that project? And then I brought it back to modern time where I managed an online meeting. Oh, technology and me, it's not my forte, but definitely when I had the opportunity to manage an online meeting and monitor that and then join 2 clubs together as a way of other members meeting other members in the local area, and a club from another area. And it was about how we brought those people together and joined in a theme and a thought and had a meeting together. Level 5 finished around NAIDOC. And it was about how do we help and support the NAIDOC theme be presented positively. I looked at the project that I was running with Penrith City Council about putting a tent together to support people who have major disabilities in order for them to access the local community. And how we managed that, and the people that I spoke to, and how we put all that together to make sure that people would be there on the day. In innovative planning, I started on my very first trip in life independently away from my family. I went through a dream and talked about all the cultural things that mean a lot to me as an individual. I learned and grew from that very first speech to my high performance at the end. And I hope that you've enjoyed the journey with me. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.